Hey everybody, welcome to my suburban oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden in Zone 5B/6A in mid-Michigan. And today is our day for our weekly walkabout and garden tour. And the long-awaited Liatris hedge is really blooming its head off. And we've got a lot of other things that are blooming. So let's take a look at what's going on in the garden today. So as we start here in the fountain area, you can see that our hydrangeas are still going wild. These are the incredible hydrangeas, and they're definitely about 4 to 5 feet tall right now, and they are gorgeous. We're continuing to get more and more blooms, and the bees just love them. We've been watching the pollinators go in and out all over throughout the day. We've had quite a bit of rain earlier today, so things are looking pretty happy. I've got some irises that are a little bit unhappy because they seem to be getting too much water, but for the most part, everything's happy with the extra rain. This hydrangea is a little haughty hydrangea that I have in a pot, and I just leave it out all year round, and it's just about getting ready to bloom. So looking forward to seeing that one come alive. Over here by the garden shed, we have some beautiful daylilies. These are part of the Rhythm of My Heart collection, and we'll see, we've got some other ones as well that I will be showing you shortly. They are there's a lot more of them, let's just say that. So the fountain area is looking really good, nice and healthy. Our spireas are just starting to put on some new growth. You can see right here we've got some new tips of deep red color. And over here, we have some of the incredible blush hydrangeas that we've grown from just a small quart, and now they are finally blooming. This is the first year that they have bloomed for me in my garden, and I just love it. I'm really hoping that they fill in this whole area between the berry white hydrangea and all of the smaller perennials here. I think they're going to be looking really beautiful. I just love the color. Our quickfire hydrangea is still putting on buds. This is crazy. It's the latest that it has ever bloomed in terms of this side of it. The hydrangeas have been rather slow this year, and I think it's just because of all of the rain. I'm not positive, but that's what I'm guessing anyways. Oh, the little rave hydrangea is starting to open down here. So I'm excited to see that bloom this year. Last year it only had one bloom, and this year so far it looks like it's got 4 different blooms that it will be putting on for us. Holy moly, look at that crazy looking wasp. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a giant one. All right, let's head out and we'll take a look at the Liatris. Right as soon as you go through the garden gate here, you see the daisies and the Liatris. So the daisies are on my neighbor's property, and that's their path. And then the Liatris are looking great. They're probably about halfway open at this point. And the bumblebees are loving on them. Yeah, this Liatris hedge definitely is beautiful right now. Now, normally, even though I say the bumblebees have been all over them, while they certainly have, you can see them right here. We definitely have less than we normally have in terms of all of the different varieties of bees. Hopefully you can see just how much, if you kind of stare at the Liatris, how much they appear to be moving, because the bumblebees are just flying from one flower to the next. I'm really enjoying them. I love the bumblebees. I'll take a look at it back this way because it's beautiful with the hydrangea that we have here as well. Just looking great. So healthy. Then as we start to look at the long border here, we have lots of cone flowers that are blooming now. The cone flowers are definitely going to town. We've had a few, but maybe you can tell as we kind of step back a little bit more, just kind of the impact of the number of blooms that are going on now. Definitely have more coming yet though. I have a volunteer over here of a small black-eyed Susan. And I think that one came from the flower that is planted over here. So something must have transported the seeds. But the bees are on the coneflowers too. They really enjoy them. Got some bumblebees going. Sometimes I like to give the bumblebees a little pet. I don't know about you guys, but they look so fuzzy and cute. They're like little flying teddy bears of the bee kingdom. So all this is looking really good. The Millennium Alliums have not opened yet. They're still in bud form, so they're taking their time to come out. But it won't be long. And I'm starting to see some buds on some of my mums as well. You can see here. And look at all of the buds on this coneflower that's yet to bloom. So I'd probably say that we're about halfway there for the coneflowers. We got a ways to go yet for them to be in full bloom. But if we look out at the mailbox garden bed, it is in full bloom. So this one faces direct south, and it's in bloom along with some mums right now. So we have July mums because these ones I failed to remember and I didn't get them cut back. So that's what they look like. They're beautiful. But I do wish I had cut them back. And I'm seeing, gosh, some red buds coming up through here that I'm going to have to cut back, as well as potentially some other type of cherry tree or something like that. So we'll have to get in there and deal with some of those volunteers. This year has been the year of the volunteer tree. It's kind of crazy. They're just everywhere. Every different kind that is in the neighborhood I have coming up. So we have some real good interest now in the front of this garden bed because the bobo hydrangeas are starting to put on some of their bloom heads. Lots of buds on this one. The other one got a little bit eaten by the deer, so not as many blooms probably going to be on this one over here because they got to it earlier on this year. But overall, I think we'll still get some beautiful blooms. Then along the pathway, we have our ever after Veronicas that are kind of peeking out here. Here's a red bud with some color on it. I wonder if that one is some weird hybrid. Look at that fuzzy bee, he's so yellow. Maybe he's been spending a lot of time in these beautiful daisies because we still have lots of blooms on these guys. They just look so cheery. It's been a bit of an overcast day. It's really humid out today, so I haven't really been out in the garden. My glasses are steaming up even as we speak. But everything looks really, really happy and quite lush because of all of the rains we've been getting. The grass has stayed green. Most of it is green anyways. I do need to come over here into this garden bed and cut back some of the lavender. We have this lavender that's the big time blue lavender, and now I believe it is finally what I would consider to be fully spent, so I will cut that back. So just showing you what that looks like right now. We are getting some blooms on the Sonic Bloom Weigela, not quite as many as last year in terms of ongoing blooms from it, but definitely some. Plenty of new growth on our weeping crabapple though this year. So I expect next year's really going to be quite significant because we will have hit like it'll be the second year that it'll be over here, but it'll be the third year in the garden, I believe. So the roots should really be established. I do have a few little suckers growing on it, but we'll take care of those no problem as well. Well, the shade garden's looking really nice. We've got lots of blooms on all of our hostas here, at least the ones that the deer didn't eat. And we're seeing the bees and the hummingbirds come through and just really enjoy those. The bloom stalks on this one back here are probably a good 6 feet tall. It's pretty amazing how big they are. The blue corner's looking really pretty. These lavenders are just a little behind the others, so not quite ready to be cut back yet, but definitely soon. I'm just loving the bluegrass. It's got some tinges of red on the stems there, which just make it extra gorgeous and give it that little bit of a extra pop of interest in the garden. You can see we're starting to get some blooms on our phlox back here. I'll show you those as we get a little closer. But right now we're still enjoying some of the daylily blooms. We have them both on this side as well as on the neighbor's side. And we've been really lucky this year because of all of the rains. I think the deer have found plenty of food in other places to forage, so they haven't come to our house quite as often. So the daylily blooms are beautiful. And all of that foliage with them mixes so nicely, doesn't it? I think this fall I'm going to give some organic feed to this viburnum. It's looking a little bit light in terms of the green color on its new growth, but I just want to hopefully give it something in the hopes that it will bloom next year, because it didn't bloom last year and it didn't bloom this year. So maybe it just needs a little bit of a boost. Some of that soil that's right up near the house is just not that great. So these are beautiful phlox. These are, I forget what they're called. It's something like rose orange or orange rose phlox. And we have our little alliums that are bobbling along in the air here. Our hypericum is starting to bloom. It's also referred to as St. John's wort. This variety is the Sunny Boulevard variety. And while some of the bees are enjoying it, it's not covered yet, but probably because there's not that many blooms on it that are open quite yet. But it is doing what I hope, which is mingling with the daylilies, and I think they look so pretty blooming together. What a great combination. And this is kind of my hotbed area where I have some hot colors, which further on down here I have some of these. I'm blanking on the name of this particular variety right now, but it's like a red hot poker plant, and this one happens to be orange. I'm happy with our pruning job on this elderberry. I think it looks pretty good. Again, I'll be watching it for any signs of disease, given that we saw some dead branches on it while we were trimming it. I know that's, kind of a normal part of the process, but hopefully we don't have too many more. This garden bed is just so easy maintenance. There are lots of dragonflies in the gardens right now. I don't know if you're able to see any of them on camera. All right, let's head into the back garden. All right, well, here we are in the back garden now. And You can see the potager is still looking very full. We have our asparagus ferns and our ornamental oregano, which the bees are enjoying right now. And I'm thinking that this year is going to be the year that I take our blue junipers out of their pots and plant them out into the garden. I don't want them to get too big in the pots for them to be really hard to take out. So yeah, you can see the irises are a little bit worse for the wear because of all of the rain that we've been getting, but they also just kind of look like that this time of year. Over here we have some beautiful daisies, and the Russian sage is getting ready to bloom. And our pink mint clematis is still just going crazy over here in the corner. So happy. We have a couple Patriot hostas here. And our tiny tough stuff is blooming. The phlox have now gone over fully, so I do need to come through and deadhead those. But since we deadheaded the geraniums, they've really flushed out very nicely on either side of the garden, or on either side of the shed door here. It sure is hot today, you guys. It's just the humidity is stifling. And here we have our half moon garden. Just looking really nice. Just absolutely loving the effect of the hydrangeas on either side of the Tian Shen 7 sunflower trees. This whole border over here is super healthy. Our strawberry sundae is starting to push its blooms out. Not quite yet, but almost there. The smooth hydrangeas, though, continue to look great. And these are putting out some more blooms, or some more buds for more blooms. I'll show you in the back here. Lots of them, which is exciting. These are just gonna keep going. Amazing. These are the Seaside Serenade variety. Very voluptuous this year. Very full, both of them. This one over here gets a little less light and a little less water because it's right next to the thundercloud plum tree, but still is beautiful. And just look at that pink diamond hydrangea behind the 9 bark. Isn't that stupendous? Love it. And here we have our hostas and lungwort garden. These are doing great. Just fantastic. I cut off some of the leaves that were burnt by the sun, and since then some of the new leaves on the hosta have kind of pushed through. So it's just looking very, very lush. I am wanting to come through soon though and start cutting back some of the flower stalks on the hosta. Some of them are starting to look a little messy after they've been pollinated. Once they've been pollinated, or the bees have gotten most of the nectar out of them, or the pollen, whatever it is that they're getting in there, that's when I like to come through and give things a good trim, because for example on this big blue hosta, they're about halfway done and I want to give them a little bit more time, but as soon as I notice that they're no longer opening, that's when I like to come in and cut them. I just think it makes the garden look a little bit tidier. We're finally starting to get some buds on the pink mink, or the, excuse me. Oh my goodness, the pink mink clematis. I always get mixed up sometimes with the pinky winky hydrangea. So this is a pinky winky hydrangea, and we're finally starting to get some good strong buds on this one. The grass really filled out in this area after we cut it back. I did have to take another hosta out this week. I did notice some signs of that virus X. So right here is a hole. I moved some of our pink fizz tiarella kind of over so that they have a little bit of space and are getting some light now, because I really love that one. Didn't get to see much of the pink fizz this year because the hostas were in the way. So I'm not too sad about the hostas. I still have lots of them, but the challenge is going to be that, you know, when you remove them, that you can't put another hosta in its place for 3 years. So that's a long time to have to wait. Yeah, so we'll see how things go over the course of this year and whether or not I really have a problem with this virus. On the front of this jet stream hydrangea on the other side, I'll show you we have some new blooms that are starting to come up. This Brenna is starting to show a little bit of insect damage, but I really don't spray for bugs because I like to watch them in the garden. I enjoy having them in the garden. Somebody asked me why I don't spray for Japanese beetles, and that's part of it. I don't want to kill any of the other bugs that may be in the garden that are beneficial. Like I said, we have a lot of dragonflies. Yeah, so this jet stream hydrangea is still pushing out new buds as well. Right there. Up here we have some. It's just really exciting to see that it's going to continue blooming, even as some of the old ones are getting a little bit of browning on them. Please don't look at my rhubarb that's in the top of that stump. It looks horrible right now. I need to do something with that pot. It's one of my ugly things in the garden right now. But this bloomstruck hydrangea is looking really beautiful. Lots of buds have opened this week. So it's not just completely pink, it's a little bit purple. And maybe we'll keep that going with a little bit of holly tone or something like that to keep the soil a little bit more acidic. Buds are forming on these flax right here. Still no buds on our little haughty hydrangeas over here. They're definitely a little behind, so hopefully we'll see some of those soon. This golden edger hosta has done exactly what I wanted it to in this garden bed, which is just to provide this really beautiful looking edge all the way around the bed. So it looks pretty from all of the different sides now. And here's our can-do hydrangea in the shade. This one's definitely performing the best. I know I mentioned that in most of my videos when we do a tour, but I just want people to know because I plant them in several. I have 3 different ones. And this one is definitely in, I would call it part shade to full shade. And the blooms are just stunning on this. So they're pretty big. They're about the size of my hand. Birds have been very happy with the rain. We've had lots of birds in the bird bath recently and come out and been swimming a lot because it's been such a hot summer. Normally we don't have regular temperatures in the 80s. We oftentimes have them in the 70s. kind of have the temperatures fluctuate, but not so much this year. Lots of 80-degree weather, 85-degree weather, and humidity. I am really enjoying this tiny quickfire. The fact that it bloomed so early, and I just love the look of the blooms themselves as well. They're just these tiny little petite blooms. I love that. I might take a cutting from that one. Now, I've been really lucky with mosquitoes this year. There haven't been too many, but I'm starting to see signs of them. This is the firelight hydrangea, really beginning to open up now. The pieris are really, really green. They're definitely enjoying the weather this year. I think most of the plants are. All right, so here we are at our daylily alley here. Just look how beautiful that is. And we're going to put the name of it on the screen because I can't remember it right now as I walk by. Oh, Storm Shelter is on the right, and Sound of My Heart is on the left. So yeah, I think that's really beautiful right now. They've been going for several days, and just really nice and full this year, really providing a good pop of color along the arborvitaes there. This quickfire hydrangea is just about in full bloom. This whole garden bed is starting to really begin to show the signs of the hydrangea season, as you see more white coming through this time of year. The vanilla strawberry is starting to open. You can see one big bloom on that. And I have some soapwort that is blooming down here. I'm going to be giving that to my sister. We have a memorial garden up at her cottage for my grandma and grampy. And that's probably going to go in there because my grandma would plant this soapwort up at one of our family cabins, and if you rub it between your hands with some water, it kind of has a sudsy effect and can act as soap to help clean your hands. So kind of a fun thing to have in the garden as a remembrance to her and to Grampy too. So here we have the strawberry Sunday hydrangea. Back behind the 9-bark that you can barely see is a beautiful red rose. Just planted up against the fence back there. Kind of hidden, surprise. There's always something, no matter where you look in the garden, that kind of hidden. So I think I'm going to take and plant something in this area. I've got to get this soil covered. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to plant there yet. Haven't totally decided, but got to fill that one up. So that is the garden for you at the middle of July here. I can hardly believe that that's what time of year it is, but it is. And I hope you've enjoyed this tour. And let me know how things are going your way. Hopefully you aren't getting too much rain. Hopefully you're getting just what you need. Thanks so much for joining me on the tour, and we'll see you next time.